Hey, Charles here with Rocky Mountain, and today I'm going to show you how to install Tusk Pannier boxes onto a Tusk Pannier rack. Now, when you get your boxes, you've got a few options. These right here, these are the Frontier. They're a premium pannier, but if you want to go with something more budget friendly, we do have other options on the website as well. So go check them out. The process for installation will be the same. With that being said, you do need to have pannier racks already installed on your bike. They're machine specific, and we do have separate install videos that cover that process. But for us, let's go ahead and get these installed. To start, we have everything laid out on our workbench here. Now, I do want to point out that the hardware does not come with the pannier boxes. It comes with the pannier rack system. So if for any reason you've lost hardware, we do have replacements available on the website. But that said, lay everything out in order, compare it to your instructions, make sure it's all there, and read through those instructions to get familiar with that install process. But if you need anything for your bike, just click the link in the description below. To install the box, we're going to take our left mounting plate, install that onto the bike, and then from here we need to determine where to mount the pannier box. So with this, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. So if you plan on bringing a passenger, make sure you have enough clearance for that passenger peg. And then since we are carrying items that can kind of weigh the bike down, ideally you want to have the weight as far forward as possible without getting in the way. And it's going to help the bike handle a little better. So keep those things in mind, but a good starting point is to center the pannier box over the pannier rack hoop and then make slight adjustments if needed to cater to the bike you're working on. Now that we have the box in position, I'm going to have a friend hold this in place while I use a Sharpie to mark the 7 mounting locations on that mounting plate. Now at your workbench, make sure you either have a rubber mat like us or lay down a blanket so your pannier boxes don't get scratched up. And then from here, we need to remove the lid and remove the felt liner inside on each box. Now with your box facing up, it's a good idea to set the mounting plate on the back again. And we're just gonna double check all the mounting holes because it's so easy for someone to move while you're making these marks. All of these are looking good. We're gonna start in my upper right-hand corner. We're gonna drill this hole first. I'm gonna use an 11/32 inch drill bit. I'm going to use a centering punch right here. For these Frontier boxes, I'm going to take a look inside before I drill. And if your hook and loop attachment is in line with your mounting locations, you want to pull that up and move it down about 1 inch. Now once you have that first hole drilled, you want to set the mounting plate in place. We're going to install one of these mounting bolts in there. And with this, we again want to check and make sure that the plate lines up with these mounting holes. And we're going to go to the opposite corner now. So all I'm going to do is mark the center of this hole. We'll drill that out, put a bolt in there. And with those 2 bolts in place, we're just going to drill through the bracket for the rest of the mounting locations to make sure that nothing gets off center. From here, you want to make sure you have good fitment. Then we can remove this bracket. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the boxes back to back. And from the inside of this box, we're going to use the Sharpie again. And we're going to mark the other box through these holes. And then we're going to take a couple of measurements to make sure the holes are in the exact positions. All right, with the mounting locations marked, I'm going to move this box out of the way. And make sure you marked the correct side of your box. So you want to make sure the Tusk logo is facing out. And then we're going to be doing the same thing with our hook and loop strip. I'm going to move this down Next, I'm gonna lay both of the boxes face down, and I'm gonna take the right hand mounting plate. We're gonna set that on there. We'll double check all of these mounting marks. So those are looking good, everything lines up, but with that, again, we wanna make sure we're in the same position as this other box. So I'm just gonna pick a point and measure down to the center of one of these holes. We'll go from the top and then from the side. And then we'll go to a diagonal corner and we're gonna take that same measurement, and that way we know everything's squared up. All right, the measurements checked out, so I'm gonna start in the upper corner again. And then we're just gonna do the same drilling process we did on the first box. Again, once you have the first hole drilled, we'll put a bolt through that bracket. And then as we go through the process, make sure you put a bolt through each hole and the bracket to make sure everything is lined up. All right, from here we can go ahead and temporarily remove this mount. Now to get the mounting plate permanently attached, you'll have a lot of washers, 22 of them that came in the hardware pack. So what we're gonna do, most of the time you're gonna have to put a washer in between the mount plate and your box. Now, when we get everything mounted up, if you find that you have too much clearance between the box and your pannier racks, you can remove these washers for adjustment later on, but most of the time you're gonna run all of these washers. Now we can set the mounting plate on top. Next, in the hardware pack, you're gonna notice that you had 6 shorter bolts and 8 longer ones. We're gonna start with these longer bolts. We're gonna grab one of the big washers from the hardware kit. The 8 longer bolts, they're gonna fit in the lower mounting locations on the box. So we're gonna go inside the box, through the washer, through that mounting plate. And then we've got one of these flange nuts on the outside. And then we'll repeat those steps for the other 3 mounting locations. And we're gonna leave everything finger tight for now so we can make adjustments. Now we're gonna take 3 of the shorter bolts and come in from the outside through those top 3 mounting locations. Now from the inside of the box with those bolts poking through, we're gonna take this support bar. I'll set it in place. And we're gonna use 3 more of the flange nuts. And then with this bracket loosely installed, we're gonna go back through and tighten down all of the hardware. I'm just using a 13mm deep socket and 5mm Allen. And then with all of this hardware tightened down, I'm gonna do a test fitment on this box before we do the same thing on the second box. Now when you set that box into place, you want to check the fitment, make sure that the pin goes all the way into the mounting bracket. And if you have too much play with the box, keep in mind you can remove the washers from the outside of this box. Ours is fitting good, so we're going to continue with assembly. Then we're gonna set the second box in place. We'll check fitment. Now I do wanna point out, if for any reason this pin is not fitting into the hole in this bracket, you can use a round file to gain some additional clearance. The next step is optional, but we wanna prep our box so we can use the security knobs with it. And the point of these security knobs is if you have the lid locked on each box, you're not going to be able to remove the box from the pannier rack. So it's a nice feature and it helps secure everything down. So with that being said, we've got a marking bolt that came in the hardware kit. We're going to thread this into that upper corner on our rack. You want to make sure you go all the way in with it. So we're fully seated right there. And then from here, we can set the box back in place. I'm going to use a soft face mallet. This is a dead blow hammer. We're gonna tap right where that bolt is, and that's gonna mark our drilling location. Then we can remove our box and we'll drill it out. We're gonna be using a 3/8 drill bit. Now we can remove this marking bolt. We're gonna set our pannier box in place. Now for the security knob, it comes with the serrated washer. We're going to put that on and then thread it into place. Now I'm going to reinstall my liner, and that's going to be specific to the Frontier boxes. Don't forget to take the keys out. And I'm going to do those same steps to the other side. All right, so there you have it. That's how you install a Tusk Pannier box onto Tusk Pannier Racks. Now, if you have any questions, leave those down in the comments below. And if you need either the racks, the box, or a combination of both, you can find those products on our website by clicking the link in the description below. Orders over $75 ship free. And hey, make sure you subscribe to our channel and check out our other helpful content. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.